Okay, you let me know, Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Due to COVID-19, Committee of Adjustment public hearings are being conducted virtually by electronic means through WebEx webinar, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentation to the committee using WebEx webinar, which is moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. My name is Isaac Laluz. I'll be chairing the hearing. With me today is Ms. Atarodi, Ms. Sankar, Mr. Hunt, and Mr. Khan. City staff moderating the platform will be Simon Lam, who is Deputy Secretary Treasurer, Irving Barijraj, and Sam Mozayani. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to connect there by the computer, tablet, smartphone, telephone, and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Those participants who want by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelists when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will be only visible during your allocated time of the 5 minutes. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you'll be reinstated as an attendee. Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Members of the public and participants are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist control during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. For the land acknowledgement, we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provision of the zoning bylaw, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because the Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, you may be able to appeal the decision to Toronto local appeal body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal known as OLT. However, the provincial government recently amended the Planning Act and generally removed the rights of third party to appeal the Committee of Adjustment decisions. As of November 28, 2022, only the appellant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, special persons and public bodies as those terms are defined in the Planning Act are permitted to appeal decisions. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The procedure today will be as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. When an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions or take the matter directly for decision. Each speaker, including the applicant, agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to receive a notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals, either in support or in opposition, will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the chance to address only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and the application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Now, for this morning's session, we have 2 minutes to approve or to adopt, and October 21st, 2021. I guess, Ms. Sankar, you were there?
And Mr. Chair, Mr. Hunt and Mr. Khan was there as well.
Okay, so all of you were there. Can I, October 21st, can I please have a motion
Yes, sir.
to adopt the minutes? Mr. Khan?
Yes, Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
with your permission, thank you, sir. I move the minutes of October 21st, 2021 be adopted.
Thank you. Second? I have 2 seconds here. Second? Can I have 1 second? Ms. Sankar seconding. All in favor? Okay, thank you. So the minutes, staff, the minutes of October 21st, 21 are now adopted. Next is November 2nd, 2021.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
for November 4th, Ms. Sankar and yourself were at the hearing.
Just Ms. Sankar and myself.
That's correct.
Okay, Ms. Sankar, you're it. Can I have a motion, please?
Okay, I move approval of those minutes. Thank you.
And I second it. So the motions for the November 4, 2021 are now adopted. Okay, now for this morning session only, any conflicts of interest to declare, members or staff? Nothing? Okay. And as I understand, there is no no deferrals and no closing files, right, Mr. Secretary?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we'll call on the application number 1, which is 51 Highland Crescent, application number 1. And this we have here, I have as an agent 2 names, Terry Martino and Greg Wolfond. Who's here? Mr. Martino or Mr. Wolfond? Anybody online?
Hello?
Yeah, hi. Who am I speaking? Can please state your name and address, please?
Hello, thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Terry Martino with Grenweiss Architect and Associates, 341 Kerr Street in Oakville, L6K.
Okay, thank you for that. So we have here is a new dwelling, 6 variances. Transportation are okay with their recommendations dated January 12, 2023. 1 letter of support, and there is some variances related to TRCA. Could you please make a short presentation for us, no more than 5 minutes?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, members of the committee. The proposal seeks to demolish the existing residence at 51 Highland Crescent and reconstruct a new 2-story dwelling. There is an associated consent file which seeks to convey a 1.8 meter strip of land on the north side of 51 Highland Crescent. My client Mr. Greg Wolfond, owns the property immediately north at 49 Highland Crescent. With respect to the variances, the first variance that we require is the height of the dwelling. The proposed height is 8.1. This pertains only to a small section of the roof which runs down the middle of the proposed dwelling, and it is further set back from the street by 2.64 meters. The main eave line of the house is at 7.5 meters, which is only 0.4 meters or 16 inches over the permitted height. Perhaps if I could get the slide, I believe it was called CA supporting material in the documents. Streetscape. Yes, thank you. Yeah. And the lower drawing, please, if we could zoom in a bit. I guess this is a drawing that we prepared of the streetscape. You can see the proposed residence at 51 Highland Crescent. As mentioned, my client owns the house to the north at 49. And you can see how generally the house is situated, and it is our belief that it fits in is a relative height to its neighbor immediately to the south. It is certainly shorter than my client's existing house to the north, and much lower than the house adjacent at 50 Highland. With respect to the front yard setback, the house is located in consultation with TRCA. We're very close to the top of bank. It sits and is no closer to the existing top of bank than the existing house. Due to the curvature of the street, the front yard setback, if we could go back to the site plan, please. Thank you. The variance sought is due to the curvature of the street, and you can see it in the middle of the lot. The tie there is the reduced setback only. I note that the neighbor immediately to the south has a setback of 5.6 meters. So we're well in excess of that. We believe that the streetscape is unaffected by that. The size of the second floor platform, which is the third variance, the second floor platform and the additional area of the platform is internal to the building. There is no potential for overlook or concerns of privacy for the adjacent yard. And with respect to the variances for the conservation, as I said, in consultation with TRCA, we've located the dwelling. I believe there's a letter of support and agreement for the proposal. I would be happy to answer any questions that the committee may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, any question? And if no question, I'd like to have a motion then, please. Anyone for a motion? Ms. Ankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I believe that this.
Could you please speak up? We don't hear you.
Oh, is that better?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, the presentation, I think, I've accepted, the explanations provided by the applicant here today. And seeing that there's no one else to sort of speak to this application, and I do know that there are, TRCA, conditions or reports they've provided their concerns as well as ravine and natural features. There is a transportation report that I note of January 12th, and that has, specific conditions to satisfy. So if they're okay with that, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application and make it subject to transportation as well as forestry conditions.
Okay, is there a forestry there? Okay, okay,
Well, I'm seeing that ravine and natural features, et cetera,
Okay.
they've put in specific
Okay.
comments, so I'll
Th-
just brand it as forestry.
thank you. Second, Mr. Hunt seconding, all in favor? Oh, thank you. Okay, sir, your application is approved, subject to those conditions, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Have a
You're
great day.
welcome. So the next one is application number 2, which is 17 Fordham Place. And here I have Jonathan Benskowski. Are you there?
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. Please, for the system, if you'd like to state your name and address so it can be recorded on the system.
Jonathan Benskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Thank you. Now, we have here is a new dwelling, 5 variances. I have nothing here in my notes. Members, do we need a presentation here? No? Okay, Mr. Venkowski, we don't need a presentation. Do you want to say something before we move to this decision?
No, thank you. You'll hear a lot of me later on, so we'll save it for then.
Thank you. Okay, any question or a motion, please? Oh, I have to, Mr. Khan, you were first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I find this one is minor variances, and I move for the approval of the application.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Hunt, seconding, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Sir, Mr. Benkovsky, your application is approved unanimously and there is no conditions.
Thank you.
Application number 3, which is 318 Keewatin Avenue, application number 3. Who's that speaking? Oh. Okay, we have 318 Keewatin Avenue, application number 3, and here we have here Jing Yi Liu. Are you there?
Yes, this is Xin
Okay.
Liu speaking.
Yeah, could you
Good
please,
morning,
good morning. Could you please state your name and address for us?
Yeah, Xin Liu, 31A Keewatin Avenue.
Thank you. Okay, so what do we have here? We have just to enclose existing front porch. There is one variance from the front yard setback, which was the one variance which was questionable. Could you make a short presentation for us, please, and tell us what this front yard setback is going to affect the area?
Sure. This variation is minor because this we not creating any further location for the wall, just to close this porch existing. Before this have a 9 meter to porch center. That's a setback. Now they require 9.07 meter to front. I think this is a minor variance because the neighbor have a same porch is closed. Both neighbor right and left. Both porch are closed. We want to close our this porch too. Just change a little bit for the setback, but no any construction to further for the setback. So I think it is minor. We now this from the front is 6.97 meter existing porch wall. Examiner said this one should keep the same 9.07 meter setback. This variance. we want the chair and councillor to approve our application.
Okay,
That's all.
thank you. Members, any question? And if no question, can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Hunt, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Based on the information before us and the fact that this is enclosing an existing deck or porch, and there's no department comments or concerns, I would move approval of this.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Thank you. Sir, your application is approved and there is no conditions. I have here.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Number 4, which is 142 Highgate Avenue, and application number 4. And here we have Mehan Haidari or Kashra Ardawi. Could you please tell me who's here? Ardalan or Mehran Haidari? Could you please tell me?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mehran Haidari, designer and applicant, and also Kasra Ardalan is the owner that he wants to talk about.
Okay, so who wants to speak, you or the other one?
So I'm gonna start, if you let me start about this application.
So you want to present, you want to make the presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay, so again, I'm sorry I didn't get that. Could you state your, I heard your name. We need also your own address. Where do you live?
So 1090 Don Mills Road, Unit 506, Norfolk, Ontario.
Okay, thank you. So here what we have here, this addition and renovation, we have 6 variances, 2 letters of support and 2 letters of objection. So could you please make a presentation and tell us what the merit of this application is?
Yes, this application, let me, I want to bring the Committee of Adjustment members' attention, and especially Mrs. Sankar, about what happened at the last Committee of Adjustment. When I replied the neighbors' concern, I just focused to the application variance items, and it didn't mean that I ignore or disrespectful with the neighbors' concern. And also about the letter of objection that we have, also I need to add the application for removal of the tree was submitted on November 9, 2022. And a month before first COA hearing, also permit for lowering the basement and underpinning was issued again before first coming on May 26, 2022. Also, I got permit from 144 owner and a young lady living there to remove the existing fences on property line to passing the excavation machinery for lowering the basement before first Committee of Adjustment. And you can see on this supporting document, if you go to the previous page, you can see the permit for lowering the basement here. You see the date is on there, and you can see the date was much before the first Committee of Adjustment, and I was surprised about the neighbors' concern because they were aware of the permit, they were aware of the proposal, and they helped us to pass the machinery for the backyard. And I was very surprised in the committee they object about these variances. And yeah, the application, if you have in front of you, is for addition, and I don't have the variance for the south side setback. If you look at the application and the list of the application, you don't have the variance for the south. And the staff in the first meeting, the first Committee of Adjustment, the staff wanted to tie the side elevation to the application, and based on the revised drawing that I submitted, the drawing is mentioning the staff concern as well, and everything is based on the staff recommendation on the first committee. And this, the page that in front of you on the display shows that We removed the porch on the north side that was one of the concern of the neighbors. The north neighbors 144 about this 0.74 distance between the stairs and the property line. And right now we don't have this one on the drawing and on the proposal and the permit that is issued by the city.
Okay.
And if there is any question about the application, I'm more than happy to answer.
You want to have it what?
If you have any question, I'm more than happy to answer.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, before we get to the questions, we have one more speaker here who's registered. Is Lori Burney. Lori Burney, is she there? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, we have not been able to reach Lori.
No, she's not there. Okay. All right. So there is no other person here. Members, any question for this speaker? And if no questions, there is 6 variances, 2 letters of support and 2 letters of objection. So can we have a motion then, please? Mr. Khan? Mr. Khan, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I find this one a very straightforward application with minor variances. I move this application be approved.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Sankar seconding. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, sir, your application is unanimously approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Application number 5, which is 601 Hillsdale Avenue, application number 5. And here we have Stephanie. Oh, are you there?
Morning, Chair and Committee.
Yeah. Can you please speak up a little bit? Give us your name and your address, please.
Yes, sorry. My name is Stephanie Au at 11 Watkinson Avenue.
Thank you. Okay.
And I've been told that I need to state at this time that I'm making a change to variance 2 to reduce the originally proposed building depth from 19 meters to
All right.
18.29.
Yeah, could you just please hold 1 second? So you're, we have here, let me go over the application first. We have here addition renovation, 4 variances. Staff report is asking to modify number 2. Is that the one you want to modify?
That's correct.
Okay, and that is from 19 meters to what?
To 18.29.
Okay, okay, that's the record I have. That's the only change you're making, right?
That's right.
Okay, so this is the addition. You have 4 variances. Staff report requested to, per applicant, they want to change number 2, which is just did. And we have 1 letter of objection, 1 letter of support. Could you make us a very small presentation, please? We don't have anybody else recorded here. So just give us a small presentation and we'll move on, okay?
Okay, thank you, Chair. So this proposal is an interior renovation to the existing 2-story single-family dwelling with a rear 2-story addition. A new rear deck and basement walkout is proposed as part of this construction. So the purpose of this renovation is the owners are a couple with 3 children, and they're looking to expand their home to accommodate their growing family needs. So I'll just go through the 4 variances that this proposal is requesting. Item number 1 relates to the eaves, which is proposed to be 0 meters from the west lot line. As you can see, the addition at the rear is actually in line with the existing side walls. So we are extending to the back by 2.3 meters, but in line with the existing side walls. So the 0 meter setback for the eaves is actually an existing condition that we are just maintaining, and as a result, it's just a technical variance. Item number 2, as we've already discussed, is an 18.29 meter building depth variance. So the reason for this variance is to gain additional usable area for the home without increasing the overall height of the existing building. This additional floor area provided by the addition also keeps within the existing allowable FSI for the site. So prior to getting into the design of this project, we did do our precedent research for some previously accepted C of A decisions for building depth, and we found that 19 meters was within the range. However, in speaking with planning staff, who had raised concerns about 19 meters, we had agreed to reduce it down to 18.29. So this is what we are presenting today. Variance number 3 relates to the rear deck and stairs. Because we are proposing to build the deck and stairs in line with the existing side wall, we do have a variance here at 0.4 meters from the west lot line. And the last variance that we are requesting is relating to the second story side yard setback at 0.23 meters. Again, because we are proposing to build in line with the existing side wall as an existing condition. This is already a variance, but this is a technical variance that we're asking to be approved. So we hope that these variances would be considered minor from chair and committee, and that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, there is nobody else here. Members, any question? Mr. Hunt? Mr. Hunt, do you have a question?
I do, Mr. Chair. In the documentation, we received a letter of concern from the next door neighbor with respect to a shared driveway. I would ask the applicant what measures are being put in place to ensure the neighbor's unfettered access is maintained throughout construction.
Yes, so we've reached out to the neighbor at 605 Hillsdale, and we've spoken with her daughter and her son. Both Michelle and Neil reached out to us, and as well the owners of 601. They've spoken with them directly in person to address these concerns, and we've brought these concerns over to the contractors involved with this project and highlighted what these concerns are, and we've agreed to have a meeting with the neighbors prior to construction to make sure that all necessary steps are taken to ensure that everyone is comfortable with what the proposed plan of action is for during construction. And I believe, after speaking with Neil, they are satisfied with the level of communication that's happened, and we'll just carry forward this communication as we move forward.
Okay, any other questions?
Okay, so, well, just a follow-up to, the contractor is aware of their concern and is prepared to take whatever mitigating steps he needs to ensure access.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other question? Okay, Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask the applicant that variance number 4, second story addition setback 0.23 from the west line. It will be affecting the house next, number 597. What did you consult the neighbor for their objection or acceptance of the proposal?
So we did ask to reach out to all the neighbors that are adjacent to our property, including 597 directly adjacent, and we do have their signature of support that is provided in the documents.
Thank you.
Next. Next. If there is no more questions, can I have a motion there, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I've looked at this application. I'm satisfied with how the agent has responded to the inquiries that have come through, and responded to the letter of objection as well. So I'll put forward a motion based on that to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to the changes made here today by the applicant, such that variance number 4 is now 18.29 meters, and just subject to
Ms. Sankar,
it's variance number 2.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, variance number 2 I meant moves from 19 meters to 18.29 meters, and that addresses the staff report, so I wouldn't put that in there, and that's my motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Hunt seconding. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Okay, your application is approved, subject to that change you made of variance number 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee.
Okay, application number 6, which is 45 ROLLSCOURT, application number 6. And here we have Ali Shakiri. Are you there?
Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. This is a new dwelling. We have 5 variances. Staff report has only a condition to develop per site plan, and that's all I have. Members, do we need a presentation here? No? Okay. Mr. Shakiri, we don't need a full presentation. Did you want to add something before we move to committee?
Out of respect for everybody's time, I don't have any presentation. Thank you. But if there is any question, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thank you. Okay, so members, if no questions, either question or can I have a motion then? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I find this straightforward, and taking the recommendations and condition of the staff that both sides yard setbacks be developed in accordance with the site plan, drawings attached to this report.
Thank you.
And I move this application be approved.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Hunt seconding. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Shakiri, your application is unanimously approved, subject to the staff condition per site plan. Okay?
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Okay, number 7, which is 26 KESTELL Lane, application number 7. And here we have, you're the same one, huh, Mr. Shakiri?
Yes, sir. I'm here. For the record, Ali Shakiri, 326 Shepherd Avenue East.
Thank you. Okay. We have here is a new dwelling, 2 variances. TRCA said no impact, no objection, and that's all I have. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Okay. Can I have a question or motion, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is very straightforward. TRCA has no objection. So I would move approval of this application subject only to urban forestry requirements dated February 13th.
And second, Mr. Khan? Or in favor? Unanimous. Okay, Mr. Shakiri, the other one is unanimously approved just for forestry. And as you can see, you made good presentation for both.
Thanks a lot again.
Okay. Okay, take care.
I'm gonna come back.
Okay, miss, don't tell me your next one too. Okay, 8.
Afraid I am.
Okay, 8, which is a 10 Grangemill, Crescent, application number 8, and Mr. Shakiri, you're there. However, in this one, we have some more people to speak, and therefore we need you to make a presentation. Here we have, this is for a new dwelling, 4 variances, 2 letters of objections, and we have forestry condition number 3. So, would you please make a presentation before we call the other speaker?
Indeed, before I start my presentation, I'd like to gladly mention that we no longer need variances number 3 and number 4. So 2 variances are deleted.
Okay, number 3 and number 4 you're removing.
Yes, those 2 variances are under the former zoning bylaw 7625, and it's no longer in effect, and we're happily removing them from the list of variances here.
3 and 4, okay. And so please go ahead.
Sure, if I can have my support material displayed. And yeah, that red line basically demonstrates the required minimum front yard setback. The thick black line obviously is the location of the building. So what we did here, in order, these lots on Grangemill are very, very short lots, so there is not enough depth. So we are requesting this variance in order to give a little bit more to the backyard. Having said that, the house is still lining up with one of the neighbors, as you can see on the right side. I have highlighted in yellow, so it's lining up with that neighbor, and on the left side, it will be past that wall. The average of the front yard setback that we calculate, that red line is anyways behind that, closer than that house to the street. So we're just slightly decreasing that, which we believe it is minor. And most of the houses anyways in Grangemill, when they go to the Committee of Adjustment, they do ask for the similar variance in some greater extent. If we go to the next pages, I have tried to give some evidence of both variances. I think you passed the first page, but it showed that, you know, yeah, for example, this one, you know, the front yard of 6 meters, which is less than this, and coverage of 35% is approved. Basically, this is a case study. We just wanted to make sure we are not setting a new precedent. And if you go through the other documents that I provided, it doesn't seem like what we are doing here is adversely affect the neighborhood. So I have no more comment. Happy to answer any question. Thank you very much.
Okay, now before we have questions, we'll see what the other neighbor has to say. We have here Peter Hotman. Are you there?
Peter Hotman,
Yeah.
12 Grangemill Crescent, M3B2J2.
Thank you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we hear you. Please tell us what's your concern. As you heard, there's only 1 and 2 recommendations. I mean, variances. Variance number 3 and 4,
Yeah, but
he has been removed. So please tell us what's your concern.
well, I don't fully understand the removal of number 3 and 4. Is that saying that the proposed building height will be within the parameters of 8.8 meters? Or are we saying that there's new parameters?
Well, we'll have the agent answer after you finish.
Okay, so anyways, my concern is the height, number 1, because the house is already on a hill above me, and going higher, you know, I have a swimming pool and a garden that will be severely affected by going higher. And also the first floor elevation in number 4, about going to 2.14 meters above the center of the road. I don't know what the new regulations are that the agent spoke about, but again, I'm not you know, I don't want this building to go higher than it is allowed. That's number one. And that's covering off number 3 and 4, which apparently are being removed. But also the biggest issue that I have is the maximum lot coverage in this area is 30%, while the applicant is requesting 34.9, representing a 16.3% increase in lot coverage, which I don't think constitutes a minor variance. 16.3%. I don't know what the level of tolerance is, but the main concern is the front yard setback for number 12, which is my house, would project 2.4 meters further than adjacent properties and significantly impact my streetscape and my view of the school that's up the street and the road. So that's my number one concern is the lot size and the coverage in number 1. And then I don't know if maybe the agent can clarify why number 3 and 4 are being removed and what the height will be.
Okay, are you through, Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll have the agent respond. Okay, hold second. Do you have any question for this speaker, Mr. Hoffman? No? Okay, Mr. Shakiri, could you please return and answer the concern of this gentleman? He's asking if the height is being affected, and why are you asking for 34.9 square meter coverage?
Sure, indeed. Regarding the coverage, which was mentioned by our neighbor at number 12, that is his first concern. I just reread his letter of objection. There is no indication of the coverage whatsoever on his letter, so I assume that's a new comment from his side. That aside, the coverage that we are requesting here is the result of our study, which I provided, that case study I provided, shows that we are not asking for too much for this neighborhood, and I stand by the evidence that I provided, and the staff doesn't have any objection on that either. As for the front yard, again, I don't want to repeat my comments. We are basically lining up with the, as you can see on this graph, is clearly shown that the house on the right side is number 12, and we're lining up with that house, obviously. So it's not creating any sort of, even if we are a little bit closer to the street, still, it won't be in the angle that cause any problem for that house, but we're not exceeding that. And regarding the height mentioned, it's too tall. I mean, we are not asking for any height variance after the removal of the last 2 variances. Anyways, just I'd like to mention that this house is not even as high as we are allowed to do with the current bylaws. In effect, the house is less than 10 meter in height. We are allowed to have 10 meter, and we haven't utilized the whole 10 meter. It's less than 10 meter in height. I have no further comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any question? If not, can I have a motion then, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I just feel that with the changes that were made by the applicant, and I've heard what the neighbors had to say, I do believe that this leaves the application meeting the 4 tests in my eyes. And so I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application with the deletion made by the applicant here today of variances number 3 and 4, and I'll make it subject to forestry. Thank you.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Khan, seconding. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, Mr. Shakiri, your application is approved, subject to the change you made, removing 3 and 4, and subject to forestry.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Members, we're going to have 5 minutes break because there is too much noise here. We don't hear you. So we're 5 minutes break, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we're resuming the session, and we have here application number 9, which is ELLIOTWOOD Court, application number 9. And here we have Mr. Glenn Robinoff. Are you there? Mr. Rubin?
Glenn Rubinoff.
Okay, please state your name and your address so we can be recorded on the system, please.
Yes, it's Glenn Rubinoff, 18 Gloucester Lane, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, we have here as a new dwelling, 6 variances. There is a staff report indicating that you're changing number 5, and we have 1 letter of objection. However, we have here we have 2 more speakers, therefore we need you to make a small presentation of 5 minutes.
Sure, thank you. So just to start off, variance number 5, as you mentioned, we've made an adjustment to the wall height as per the city staff report. We've reduced it from 8.61 meters to 8.16 meters. So we brought it down a fair bit, just as per staff's recommendation to make the eaves and massing in more of an alignment with the homes in the neighborhood. So staff was satisfied with that adjustment, so we made that. Variance number 6 is the old bylaw. I don't believe it's in effect anymore, but you know, just in terms of caution, I would leave it. But I believe that the 7625 is no longer in effect. But as an abundance of caution, I will leave it. This is an application for a new home. We did include an area map indicating comparables in terms of lot coverage, wall height, and such. I believe this house, as built or as proposed, will fit in to the character of the neighborhood. That it's we're compliant with our side yards. We have a small variance for additional length of 17.4 meters, where 17 meters is permitted. So 0.4 meters, which is just over a foot. Our overall height of 10.51 is really for there's a gambrel low slope roof on top, and a portion of that exceeds the height. So the majority of the roof is actually compliant. It's just in order to provide a proper slope so we don't have going into flat roof area. As far as lot coverage, there's several projects in the area which are comparable or even a little bit higher. And as far as there was some concern expressed about the deck from number 5 next door. Now the deck is it's a partial deck, and it's not. There was some question in the letter, and then perhaps they're speaking on it. It's not 12 feet in the air. That's just, there's a dimension which shows from the basement level through that it's 12 feet high. It's not. It's aligned with the first floor, and the grade drops off at the back. So it's more or less around 8 feet, I would say, but it's not going to be impacting number 5 nearly as much as the concern expressed, and I do understand that, but we are 12 feet away from that neighbor in terms of building setbacks, and the deck is on the other side. It's not right up against them. It's actually set in from both sides of the property. Anyways, I'll leave it there because there are other speakers, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if anything comes up. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll come back to you after we hear the speakers. We have here John Sum. Are you there? John Sum. Is she there?
Hello? Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
My name is Joan Sum.
And your address, please?
5 ELLIOTWOOD.
Thank you. And tell us what's your concern about this application.
I think Mr. Rubinoff might have addressed some of it. It's still, I don't know. One was the height of the proposed new house. It looks like, to me, it looks like the house is going to be about 2.5 to 3 stories high. So we're a 2-story house, so it's going to tower over us. It looked to me like it was going to be, well, at the most, maybe 40 feet. We're about 20 feet. We're just an average house. The other concern, so I guess I'm not sure how high the proposed house is supposed to be, because I was a little confused by all the different numbers. The other thing was the deck. He's saying that it's only going to be 8 feet off the ground rather than 12 feet. Because to me, it looked like, from the drawings and everything, it looked like, because now the house is being raised, like when I look outside my side door at the new building, there's going to be a door, then a window over that door, and another window above that window. So to me, that looks like it's 3 floors. So it looks like the height of the first floor is going to be quite high. He says it's only going to be 8 feet, which is still kind of big for me, but better than 12 feet. So those were my 2 concerns.
Okay.
I did have 2 other quick, but I don't know that this is the place to ask them. It's just about disruptions I can expect, and if I have a problem, who I contact. But I guess that's not for this committee.
No, you're right. It's not the committee. Anything with the construction is in law enforcement department and also the construction building department. We don't have anything to do here with that. Here we look at the variances. If they didn't have these variances, they wouldn't be here. They would go and build it anyways. So we'll have the agent come back and answer some of your concerns. In the meantime, any question for the speaker? No? Okay, so the next speaker is Andrew Nicholson. Are you there? Andrew Nicholson? Is he there?
Mr. Chair, Andrew has been unmuted.
Mr. Nicholson, are you there?
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Could you please state your name and address for us, please?
Yeah, it's Andrew Nicholson, 391 Woodsworth Road. I live adjacent to where this development is occurring, and I guess my general concern with the neighborhood overall, there is, I guess, precedent-setting developments that are occurring within this neighborhood. This particular development can be classified as precedent-setting given the character of the neighborhood and the structures that are on the street existing. I agree with Ms. Sum that this will be towering over the existing structures and inhibit, the quality of life of the adjacent properties with respect to privacy. You have an 8-foot deck and a towering structure overlooking your property. So I was just, attending more or less to observe this process. I'm generally concerned about the level of development that's going on in this neighborhood. There's other precedents being set with respect to 390 Woodsworth. If you're familiar with that townhouse complex, it's proposed to have condominiums erected, 7-store condominiums erected across from where I live. So I'm just very concerned as a citizen with respect to these decisions that are being made to change the original city plan and allow these types of things to occur in the first place. So that's the point I wanted to make this morning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any question for this speaker? Okay, so those are all our speakers, and we'll call Mr. Glenn Robinoff to come back and please address any of those concerns, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the comments made. The neighbor at number 5 has a concern about, and I've heard this part about the towering over. Just to be clear, the height bylaw, there's 2 parts to the height bylaw. There's wall height and overall height. Height bylaw, we did bring down the wall height as per the city request down to 8.16 meters. Wall height has more of an impact to some people. And in this case, I feel this brings it down to a level comparable to adjacent homes. We can only address what the bylaw permits and what we're proposing. I will say, though, that the portion of the roof that is right in the middle of the roof, it's not at the edge, is where that height goes up a little bit beyond the bylaw. So I feel like the impact of this variance would be minimal to anyone, especially just considering that side yard setbacks are not being encroached upon. And I should also point out that the building is not a simple square. There's a variation in the shape of the house. So the actual length of the house on the side adjacent to number 5 is just about the same. It finishes at about the same location. So if you look at the site plan at the back corner, you'll see that it jogs back. If you go to the site plan, we'll probably show that better. Yeah, well, that's showing the floor plan, but on the site plan, it shows the adjacent neighbor that we're not projecting. So again, we're trying to minimize the impact on that neighbor. So, you know, overall, the deck, as well as the neighbor number 5 had mentioned, we didn't, you know, the dimensions, there's a lot of numbers on the drawings, and there's a lot of numbers, and it's a bit confusing, the bylaw, with regards to how to read it. But no, it's not a 12-foot high deck. It is just at the first floor level, but it is at about an 8-foot height. And it is 12 feet away from the, between the buildings. And the deck itself is further over. It's actually probably an additional, I would say probably an additional 15 feet further away from the property line, in addition to the space between the buildings. So I believe that the impacts of this home will be minimal to that neighbor, and feel that the adjustments we've made with planning support is I think in keeping with the area. This is not a static area. There is a lot of change going on. I can't speak to the townhouses on Woodsworth. I mean, it's probably a different, I believe it is a different zoning, so they have different bylaws that they have to comply with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the speaker? And if there is, Ms. Sankar, did you have a question?
No. There is one question that I just wanted to ask him to, again, just repeat about variance number 2 and the 34%. I know he may have already done that, and I was caught up. But please, if you can just share that one more time for us.
Sure. Thank you. One of the things that when we evaluate, when we look at coverage, we also look at building length and side yard setbacks and impacts on adjacent neighbors. We are at a 34% coverage, and we did a study in the area, and there are some homes which are at 36, 34, elsewhere in the neighborhood. I feel that because of the way that we've set the house, and in the footprint that it is, that we have, that the coverage will not, because there's no side yard setback, because we're not projecting forward in the front, that the impact is minimal in terms of the coverage on adjacent neighbors, and that you know, it's not we're not trying to push the envelope in this case. We're just simply, you know, the way in which the layout worked out, that's kind of how it is. But we were sensitive to number 5 by jogging the house in such a way that it doesn't project beyond them, adjacent to them. It jogs further away.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? If not, can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Hunt, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have listened to the applicant, and I have listened to the concerns of the neighbors. And I believe that in working with the planning department and making the modification to variance 5, reducing the height of the exterior main walls facing a side lot from 8.61 to 8.16, and the applicant's agent indicating a deletion of variance 6, I would move approval of this application.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. And I mean, opposed? Ms. Atarodi is opposing. Okay, sir, your application is approved, subject to the changes you made, and that's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Application number 10, which is 202, the Bridle Path, application number 10. And here we have Mr. Ali Shams. Are you there? Ali Shams?
Hi, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, can you please state your name and address for us, please?
My name is Ali Shams, and my address is 4325 5 Shepherd Avenue East, North York, Ontario.
Thank you. We have here, this is for a new dwelling, and you have 8 variances. Staff report is asking to modify number 4, and please tell us what you're doing. Make a small presentation. We don't have anybody else speaking, just you. So make a small presentation and tell us the change you want to make to number 4, etc.
Sure. We received an email from the planning division requesting us to reduce the lot coverage. Although lot coverages approvals over 31% is precedented in this neighborhood, I revised the drawings and reduced the lot coverage by 1.15%. Originally it was 31.7%, and now after the reduction is 30.25%. I have submitted the drawings to the Committee of Adjustment, and you can see the drawings, the revised drawings, if you wish. So as a result of this reduction in lot coverage, we are also improving the rear yard setback from originally proposed 7.13 meters to 7.67 meters. After the
excuse me, you said from 7.1 to how much?
7.13 meters to 7.67 meters. This is the rear yard setback.
Okay, and that variance.
Two variances will be improved: the lot coverage and the rear yard setback.
Okay. Okay.
And I believe that the planning division seemed to be happy by this reduction in lot coverage, and probably that's why we have no objection to this application.
Okay. All right. Members, any question? There is number 4 is changing it to 30.25. And the other one is from 0.71 to 0.67. Could you please see if you have any question? If no question, maybe a motion, and the changes, you've got them. Ms. Atarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the following changes. Variance number 4, the lot coverage is now 30.25% of the lot area, and the variance number 5, the proposed rear yard setback is now 7.67 meter, 10, and that's it.
That's it. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Sir, your application is approved, subject to those changes you made. Okay? You want me to repeat them, or you're okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and the committee members.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So that's it. Now, number 11, which is the next one, is 223 ARMOUR Boulevard, application number 11. And here we have Mr. Jonathan Benkowski. Are you there?
Morning again, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I know you know who you are, and we say, but for each application, we need it to be recorded. Just please repeat your name and address so it can be recorded on the system.
Yes, Jonathan Benkowski, 301 KEEWATIN Avenue.
Thank you. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more speakers registered here. Therefore, we need you to make please a presentation so we can start to call them.
Yes, if we could bring up the support material I filed, please. The proposal today is to construct a new single detached dwelling with an associated basement apartment. What I've done here is I've provided some graphics really to underlie what the variances are before you today. And I am going to stress that we focus solely on the variances that are before you today. So what we have here is a graphic that I've done that really shows the impact of what we are requesting. So if we look at the rear, that pertains to variance number 1 and 2, which deals with the proposed garage off of the flanking street, which is Rayburn Avenue. That thick black line is what would be required for this to be permitted. So in terms of impact to the neighbor to the east, as well as the neighbor to the north, that garage is what is envisioned within the zoning bylaw itself. The setback is in fact only to Rayburn Avenue. It is not to the neighbor to the north or to the neighbor to the east. In terms of variances number 3, it is a very modest increase of lot coverage of 0.6%. In terms of variance number 4, if we could just zoom in on that flanking setback, variance number 4 deals with the side yard setback to the flanking street, which is Rayburn Avenue. What I've done again is I put a thick black line of what that is actually required within the zoning bylaw itself. I've also provided a graphic showing the setback from the proposed sidewall to the sidewalk, sorry, there is no sidewalk there, to the curb itself, which we see as 23'5". So this is not a dwelling that is on top of Rayburn. There is an adequate setback of essentially 7.14 meters from that proposed south wall, which is the variance for the flanking, into the curb. That again would be extensively landscaped. There is no request for any landscape requirements on this proposal at all. Moving forward to the vehicle access from the flanking street, we see that as variance number 5. There is a report, sorry, it is going down the other way. It's the driveway onto ARMOUR Boulevard. Yes, what we see here is variance number 5. That request there has always been here. There is a staff report from transportation indicating no objection to the location of that. I am not a transportation engineer. I am a professional land use planner. I would defer to transportation in the city of Toronto to any comments they would provide, and they have no issue with that. Further to that, I've also provided a dimension showing 13.65 meters or 44 feet 10 from the southernmost portion of that driveway to the corner of Rayburn, which is that the curb there itself. Moving on to the next page, please. The last variance deals with the addition or alteration to the front main wall to accommodate the secondary suite. What we see is the front of the dwelling. That is a typical single-family dwelling. This variance is triggered anytime there is a new house or a renovation that requests a secondary suite in the basement. But as we see from here, facing ARMOUR Boulevard, there is no second door. The entrance is from a rear basement walkout that is typical for many single-family dwellings. If we can continue on to the next page. I think a lot of the objections deal with the idea of the two driveways. What I've done here is I've taken this intersection here. We are the subject property as identified there of the 3 properties that exist to the east, to the west, as well as to the south. All 3 have identical flanking driveways that front onto ARMOUR Boulevard. If we can continue to the next slide, please. Of those 3 properties, 2 maybe we may need to zoom out a little bit from this one just to see. Yes. This again is now the southwest corner of ARMOUR and Rayburn, much like the proposal that is before you today. There are two driveway entrances, one that exists off of ARMOUR and one that exists off of Rayburn. Continue to the next slide, please. This is directly across the street. This would be the northwest corner of ARMOUR and Rayburn. Again, we see two driveways with one off of the flanking street being ARMOUR, with one off the flanking street being Rayburn and one off of ARMOUR itself. So continuing down to the last slide, please. This is a newly developed house that was actually an OMB decision. What we see here, again, is a driveway not off the flanking street. So in terms of the introduction of the variance for the entrance not on the flanking street being ARMOUR, all of the three houses that you would see from this property have an identical situation, with two of those three, in fact, having an entrance off of both ARMOUR as well as Rayburn. Basically, to summarize, there is no variance request for the integral garage, as well as I can see you hurrying me up, Mr. Chair, and I have one last point.
We'll get you back after we hear the speakers because you already finished your time allotment. Okay, so we'll get you back. The next one we have on the system is Jessica Cremasco. Jessica Cremasco, are you there?
Hi there. I'm Jessica Cremasco.
Your address, please.
Can you hear me? 231 ARMOUR Boulevard.
Thank you. So you heard the agent. Could you tell us what's your concern about this application?
I did. Yeah, my main concern is with variance 5. It would be that additional driveway on the main street on the ARMOUR, in addition to the driveway on Rayburn. So having two driveways, and again, kind of the variance being the request for a change in bylaw being the driveway on ARMOUR. So the driveways that the agent is referring to are on the other side of the street, and ARMOUR is in a situation that there's only one sidewalk, and it's on the east side. So to add another driveway on ARMOUR on the east side, so the only side that has the sidewalk, I'm very concerned about the volume of not only foot traffic, but vehicle traffic. And this is given that ARMOUR's a main artery towards the highway. A lot of people take it to get onto the avenue exit, as well as at that exact time that people are trying to drive, there's foot traffic and vehicle traffic because the school, ARMOUR, is the main artery towards Summit Heights, which is the school that my son attends and that I walk to every single morning and every single afternoon with his younger brother who's in a stroller. And that corner continues to be a concern with the amount of traffic and, again, the amount of kids that are walking by. And I'm worried not only for that corner itself and the addition of that driveway, but the precedent it sets to have a double driveway, another space for cars to come in and out of on the side of the street that has the foot traffic, so has the kids crossing that street and walking on that sidewalk. So it's I think it comes down to me as a huge safety concern.
Okay, so comes to the driveway, we'll have him explain that, and we have transportation here as well. So members, any questions for this speaker? If not, we'll go to the next speaker. Next speaker is Nicola Lissus and Jesse Reiter. Yeah, could you please state your name and address for us?
Hi, my name is Jesse Reiter. The address is 229 ARMOUR Boulevard.
Thank you. So tell us what's your concern.
So thank you, Mr. Speaker. I referred what the agent has said. I've got several concerns. For one, I want to echo what Jessica had said right before me about this being the only house having an additional driveway added on the sidewalk, whereas the two that were mentioned are across the street with no sidewalks. So it's really irrelevant for my purposes that they have two driveways. And I agree with the precedent setting of that. The other issue that I wanted to point out, which is critical as well, is the lot coverage and the flooding. So while the dwelling size of the dwelling is, the variance there is not huge over the allotted one for the actual structures, the fact that two more driveways are being paved, the paving of the area it is going to cause more water to pool in the area. The zone itself, as it is designated as a flood zone. We've had several instances where our yard has been flooded after heavy rainfall and caused water to get into the basement and damage that had to be repaired with insurance claims. This has happened several times over the years, and has forced us to both to repair the issues and to do some additional remedial work around our house. The paving of the covering of the lot, higher coverage of the lot will increase the issue of water pooling and flooding in the area. And just because they're building a new house, they're effectively impeding all the older houses in the area that don't have sump pumps and things like that in the house because they weren't built. So that's a major concern. The third item I wanted to just bring up is that this is the third time that this structure has gone up to the Committee of Adjustment, and it's been struck down twice already in the past. Each time this is brought up, there's been lots of objections the entire time. Every time it's brought up, it requires all the neighbors who object to show up with the Committee of Adjustment and spend hours with the committee each time to voice our complaints. And it's a huge waste of time, and it's frankly, it's a blatant disregard to everybody else's time on this. I know it's within the right to do that, but it remains a blatant waste of time of the neighbors.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to understand, maybe you mentioned the coverage. You said if the coverage is high, then there is a problem of the flooding. The coverage you're talking about, variance number 3. They're going from 30% to 30.6%. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but it's not only that. The variance is 30 to 30.6. I mentioned it's not a huge change, but the additional driveway covers more area. Right, that's not included in the variance.
Okay.
The driveway, the paving of the both driveways.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
That's a concern.
Gentlemen, thank you. Okay, so then we'll get the agent back after we hear all the speakers to address your concerns. Okay. So next one is Ita Suraski. Are you there? She registered, yeah?
Mr. Chair, Ida Saraski has been unmuted.
She's unmuted, yeah. Okay, Ita Suraski.
Can you hear me?
Yes, could you please state your name and address for us, please?
My name is Etta Saraski. My address is 225 ARMOUR Boulevard. I live next door to the proposed house.
Thank
and
you.
I'm asking that Mr. Michael Flynn speak on our request. He's registered.
Okay, you want somebody else to speak there, huh? Okay.
Yes, Mr. Michael Flynn.
Okay, Mr. Flynn, could you please state your name and address and tell us you're speaking for 225 ARMOUR Boulevard?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Michael Flynn, 90 Cordova Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, and tell us what's the concern of Ita Suraski.
Well, the very first thing is that the agent just said at the beginning of his presentation that this is a new dwelling. The purpose of the application in the documents, in the notice, says that it's additions, not new. So the agent is wrong to start with on that one. The agent then goes on to talk about three driveways entering from the non-flanking street, but we would consider that those, I wouldn't want to call them driveways, they're actually parking pads. They're not driveways. So they enter from the street and they enter onto the properties, but they don't lead to anything. So people drive in and park their car on the driveway, which I would consider parking pads. So it's not that they have a second garage. Thirdly, and probably more important than those items, is that there is an existing driveway leading to an existing garage. It's a one-car garage, and the proposal is to develop a new freestanding garage in the backyard, which is a two-car garage, accessed by a driveway from the flanking street. So in effect, you have a three garage project. Traditionally, it's been required that you have a 70-foot frontage to be allowed to have three garages. This property does not have that. The lot frontage is considerably less than 70 feet. So it would fail on that basis alone. So going back to whether or not this is in character, those driveways or parking pads that exist on the other corners of the street do not speak to character. A new garage with a second driveway, so you have a second garage and a second driveway, is out of character with the neighborhood. Therefore, it does not meet the test of being generally in keeping with the official plan. Needless to say, it would not be considered to be generally in keeping with the bylaw. And certainly, it's not minor from that perspective. And it's not appropriate development of the lands. So I would say that they fail all four tests. And some of the other variances certainly are not significant, but I would suggest to the committee that this is just a very bad design. And whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, and really they're trying to accomplish a large storage shed, either in the front of their house or in the backyard of their house, or maybe both. So I would ask the committee to refuse it on that basis alone. In addition, the design creates large windows overlooking the neighbor. And if this is approved, we would ask that screening be provided on the windows to maintain the privacy of the owners of those neighboring properties. And that's it for the moment. I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay, thank you. We have here Clary Suraski. Are you speaking for both of them? Okay. Anyway, any question for the speaker? Okay, we'll get the agent back and he'll answer the questions. I have here listed Clary Suraski. Is that a different one or it's okay with Ita? Do you have another one called Clary Suraski?
Mr. Chair, Clary Saraski has been unmuted. They can speak.
He's unmuted.
They're unmuted.
Clary Suraski, are you there? Clary Saraski. Okay, we'll move to the next one and maybe we'll come back to her if she shows up because the other one spoke anyways. Brooke Hollander, are you there?
Mr. Chair, Brooke Holland, we were not able to get in touch with Brooke Hollander.
Okay. Michael Flynn, Oh, he's the one who spoke now. Mr. Flynn, you just spoke now, so you spoke for Ms. Suraski as well, right?
That's correct. I don't need to speak again.
Thank you. Now we have here Mikhail Kovendi. Are you there?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay,
Can
please.
you hear me okay?
Yeah, just tell us your name and your address, please.
My name is Michael Kavendi. I was sent it to 22 Robbie Avenue, but I have recently moved to 254 Sandringham, which is a neighboring street just adjacent to Rayburn Avenue there.
So you don't have anything to add? Okay.
I do.
Okay. Well, tell us. We'd love to hear something different, but we heard a lot about the parking, so please tell us what's your concern.
Absolutely, I'd love to. I think one, just like to address kind of on a holistic nature some of the issues, and I guess kind of speak to some of the issues brought up by the agent. One, I think what you're looking at here is, several major infractions or major variances that I believe it was 7 that Mr. Ritter brought up in his letter, and yes, maybe potentially each individually, they are, major precedent-setting variances. But I think when you look at it, as a whole, and an aggregate of 7 major variances in conjunction with minor variances as well, you're talking about a very, very major change to the neighborhood, and this is, hopefully. This is obviously your call, but there are quite a few neighboring properties and people that live in this neighborhood, and they do not feel it's appropriate. It has these major variances that do not go with the official plan or bylaws, and they are not minor in any circumstance. So really, kind of again, the aggregate of the 7 major ones in compilation with the multiple pages of minor variances that were submitted. I'd also like to point out that, again, Mr. Ritter pointed this out, there have been several previous applications, and there has been not much substantial revision except for the first application, which actually put 2 dwellings on the house. And instead of a basement apartment, they were actually trying to put a second dwelling for, I guess, an in-law suite in the proposed garage. And I think this has obviously been changed since the first proposal, but it is very clear, I think, by Mr. Flynn that, there are some, questions about 3-car garages. What is the actual use of this? It's very suspect to have this initial application going through, and all of a sudden these minor, or these changes that, don't again make sense from a design perspective, and using his words, Mr. Flynn, that it's not a very good design. I would tend to agree, but obviously we're not here to debate that. Also, just noting from the previous Committee of Adjustments, there were several reports requested from the city. Yes, they have mentioned the transportation one. There's actually nothing that has been followed up with the forestry department that I've seen. I would be very interested to see some of these. I don't know where I'm able to access them, but for me, the transportation issue, moving of the trees on ARMOUR, a very major street where there is through traffic, and there are kids going, including my own 2 kids, going to Summit Heights. It definitely has concerns on that being the only sidewalk side, as well as adding. We had said three cars, but you're also adding potentially quite a bit of parking spots. With the 2 driveways on this property, so I'd be interested to speak for the agent to speak to the forestry reports and transportation reports that were both requested from the previous Committee of Adjustments, because I don't feel that they were well addressed. And the last one, I think that the adding of a driveway is obviously a huge concern with this. There's extra density, extra parking, sightlines along the trees and whatnot, and it is kind of a very big change for the neighborhood. and presents some safety issues, which, you know, I just don't feel are you know, kind of addressed in the agent's kind of speech about how he's, you know, addressed the variances and their proposed impacts. And I guess that was kind of the four major issues I had there. The major infractions in aggregate, you know, several reports by the city from transportation, forestry not being well addressed, previous rejections of applications and not substantial revisions with, you know, major changes and recommendations that haven't been followed, 2 dwellings on the property, and then again adding the driveway there. It looks like I'm not going to have a lot of time to go into the impact document, but I will say that even from the pictures, the parking pads, you know, they were, you know, not the intended to add. You know, I don't even know if the curbs were cut on some of those, like that they're showing as that particular side of things, as well as I think sorry, I'm just looking at the time going down there, and I'm getting a little bit flustered and trying to keep my passion out of this. So I will, you know, I have addressed those 4 points, and I would, if there is the opportunity to refute some of the things the agent brought at a you know, post the.
Sir, your 5 minutes is over, and we have to move on. Could you please? Okay. Could you please summarize there? We heard it, so we have to move on. Yep. See if they have any questions, and we will have the agent come back. Any question for the speaker? Okay. What's her name is? Ita Suraski, Clary Suraski. Is she on?
Mr. Chair, Clary Suraski has been unmuted. They can speak.
She's unmuted. Okay. Clary Suraski. Clary Suraski, are you there? The other one spoke for her, the Ita, I guess. Clary Suraski, are you there? Okay, one more time. Is there anyone there called Clary Suraski? No. Okay, so we'll move on. Mr. Benskovsky?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you please come back and give us some summary, see what you, if you can address those concerns?
Yeah, I want to clarify something and make it very clear. I'm not sure where this 3 driveway or 3-car garage has arisen from. The proposal is for an integral garage off of ARMOUR and a detached garage at the rear portion off of Rayburn. What we can see here clearly from the site plan, and maybe there was some confusion with Mr. Hunt understanding the plans itself, we can see there is a note that says the existing driveway is to be closed. If we just zoom in on that Rayburn portion, just maybe to the right a little bit, we can see where there are the 2 lines where it says existing. Just go down, please. It's within the house itself. Yeah, it just says existing asphalt driveway to be removed. So I'm not quite sure where the 3 driveways or 3-car garages has come up. I would also just like to speak to a comment made by the previous speaker. All of those dwellings across the street that have the access off of Rayburn as well as ARMOUR have curb cuts for all of them. They're all, again, an access off of both streets. This isn't the introduction of something that isn't already within this neighborhood itself. To speak to comments from the city, again, planning department has no issue with the proposal yet again. I asked in the beginning that we really focus on the variances itself. The variances itself is really what we're here to look at and what we're here to speak to. In terms of transportation, you have a transportation report on file that does not object to the location of the access off of ARMOUR. It's black and white. They do speak to a location of a catch basin. I have provided an additional document in my supporting material indicating the location of the catch basin to the proposed curb cut off of ARMOUR. So in terms of transportation is concerned, there is no issue. Transportation had originally asked for a cutting down of a hedge. That has been done by the current owner along the southern portion of the property. So to remove transportation from this conversation, they do not object to either the curb cut along ARMOUR or Rayburn. Additionally, City of Toronto Planning has not commented on the application. They do not have an issue with the two because, again, these are mutually exclusive. This is not a request that involves the approval of the two parking locations. These are exclusive to the variances, with the one being the location not on the flanking street, which is variance number 5, and the other one dealing with the garage, which is variances 1 and 2, which deal the location of the siting of the garage in the rear yard. Some talk of the official plan was brought up as to how it impacts the two driveways. Again, the official plan is implemented through the zoning bylaw. The zoning bylaw is not restricting the two access locations for parking. So you can't use the official plan as a justification through the zoning bylaw with something that is permitted under the zoning bylaw. It's kind of circular planning to say what is permitted doesn't prevail, so you can't have it. That would really mean you could have no two-story dwellings that would be permitted in height where bungalows exist in the neighborhood. That's just not proper planning. Lastly, to speak to some of the issues with drainage, even with the proposed location off of ARMOUR, as well as the flanking street of Rayburn, there is no request for landscaping. It is proposed as per all requirements of the landscaping requirements for the front, the side, as well as the rear yard. In terms of drainage, it is not an issue because this is the lowest portion along the site. If we go to one of the pictures, we could see that actually the pooling water from neighbors comes onto this property. Water will not travel uphill, it will only travel downhill. And just bear with me for 1 sec. I'm just going through my notes here. Again, I would just like to stress that, again, planning department has reviewed this yet again and has no issues. Part of the reason for, and I was not involved in the previous application, was an issue that dealt with no comments from transportation that related to the access off of ARMOUR. We have a clear memorandum from them, and I did provide, again, that graphic showing the distance from that proposed drive aisle to the corner of Rayburn, which is significant in my opinion, as again, there is no stop sign there.
Okay, please.
This is located.
Please, you finish your 5 minutes.
I'd be happy to answer.
We'll come back to you if there's any question, okay? All
Sure.
right, members,
Sure.
any question for the speaker? Mr. Hunt, he had his hand first. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've listened to the presentation by the agent and listened to the concerns of the residents. And time again, it has come up that this application has appeared before this committee. On, I believe it was July 14th, 22, it was refused because it was a failure to meet the 4 tests applicable to minor variances. My question to the agent would be, what changes have been made that are now in compliance with legislative requirements to the extent this can be considered minor in nature?
Yes, just let me bring it up. I'm not sure if you have the previous application. I was not involved in that. A lot of what I understand led to the issue at the previous hearing dealt with the lack of a transportation report that was not provided in time at the hearing, which dealt with the location of that drive off of ARMOUR. So what my understanding was is that there was nothing provided that dealt with that. Additionally, the other changes in terms of the north side yard setback, and if we could maybe go to my site plan that I provided in my supplemental material. Yes, so there was an issue, there was a reduction in that north side yard setback. If we just zoom in here, the north side yard setback was proposed originally in that decision. Oh, sorry, the other side, that's the south. Yes, was a continuous 1.2. If we look, I've actually grayed in that area on my site plan. That has been set in. So the dwelling itself, okay, apart from the one-story garage projection, all has a side yard setback of 2.02 meters, which again is well in excess of the zoning bylaw requirement of 1.2 meters. The other point that kind of ties with that, if we looked at that flanking side yard setback to the south that we're requesting, if we were to essentially fill that in with the 1.2 meters, that would again even push that dwelling further away from Rayburn, but again closer to the neighbor to the north. So by taking out that 1.2 meter side yard setback request to the north, we've actually eliminated the impact and reduced that to the neighbor to the north. That's one of the main changes. But again, a lot of what my understanding dealt with was that transportation report. And I believe the last speaker, I think his name was Michael, actually addressed that in his, where those previous applications did not have that report. Now, through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Hunt, you have that report in front of you that deals with the location off of ARMOUR, which again, my understanding was the main crux of it, that transportation report was not provided in the previous one.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Any other question?
Just a follow-up, Mr. Chair. I respect the fact that...
Oh, Mr. Hunt, okay,
That's
sorry.
right.
I thought it was one of the speakers down there. Mr. Hunt, please go ahead.
Oh, yes, I respect the fact that the agent was not involved in the previous application, but my dilemma, I guess, is that the variances that were asked for in the July application, in my view, don't differ substantially from those in the present one. And so I'm having difficulty seeing where the concerns expressed in the refusal have been changed sufficient to make this minor in nature.
Is this a comment or are you asking him a question?
I guess that's a comment.
Okay.
I'm just...
Okay, Mr. Khan, you had your hands up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you, sir, I'm raising a question that already has been addressed by my colleague, Mr. Hunt, and also by the speakers. There are 4 variances which were refused on July 14th, and 3 of them remain the same as they were then. And only one has been modified, and that is number 5, transportation report. They have no objection. Sir, my question is, variance number 1, it's a concern of mine, and also it has to be addressed properly and understood properly. The side setback between garage and ancillary structure is 5.33 meter. Minimum requirement is 6.12 meters. It's not minor.
Okay. Mr. Khan, did you have a question here for him?
Yes, sir, I would like to, I would appreciate to explain that minimum requirement is 6.12 and he's providing 5.33
okay,
meters.
Mr. Bezrovsky, could you please address this question?
Yeah, can we go back to that site plan I provided in my support material, please? And just maybe zoom in on the rear. That rear garage. So through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Khan, that request is for the garage that's located in the rear yard. In this case, because we're on a flanking street, that setback is measured to Rayburn. If we look, there's ample setback provided between not only the property line itself at 5.33 meters, but again, that figure I showed previously that I believe was somewhere around 6 meters from the actual property line to the curb. So if we look at that separation and where that impact is felt from the streetscape of Rayburn, the actual setback of the garage there is very minimal. Additionally, the neighbor to the north on Rayburn has submitted a letter of non-objection indicating that he has no concern with the location of that garage. I actually met him on site. We spoke. There's some civil stuff they want with planting of trees, which really isn't a committee of adjustment issue here today. But in terms of that variance there, that's only relating to that front wall. So what I did here is I took that thick black line. That is where it would be permitted to be. In my opinion, the impact of that and how that faces Rayburn really is not significant given that given that 5.33 plus the additional area from the property line to the boulevard. What we tend to forget in situations like this where we have large side boulevards is even though this isn't owned by the applicant itself, this is extensively greened area that would be maintained. So through the planting of hedges to the adjacent property to the east, as well as the 5.33 meter setback of where it is. Again, and I want to go back to the garage being permitted. This is not a request to not permit the garage. The variance is only that setback. It's not to permit or whether not to permit the garage. Okay, so in my opinion, the impact of the Rayburn streetscape is really mitigated by that massive setback of where it is and where it's proposed.
Mr. Chair, I would like to record my comments through you that we have, as a committee, brought to the notice of the applicant that this is not acceptable.
Is there another question? If there is no question, can I have a motion? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I've tried to listen carefully to what the agent has said, and I know that he hasn't been part of the last applications that preceded this, and I know that he's done his best to try to explain to us the merits of this application, but I find that it still outweighs for me what the numbers of individuals who have come forward to talk about their concerns, and I share some of those similar concerns as well, and it doesn't rest well with me that this is minor still, or that it meets any of the 4 tests. For that reason, I'm going to refuse this application. That's my motion.
Do I have a second, Mr. Hunt? Mr. Hunt, you're seconding? Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, you have 2 opposing and two. Okay, so I'll have to explain here.
Mr. Chair, I'm for the motion. Sorry for interrupting you. I'm for the motion of Nadini.
Oh, I said opposed. Okay, so the motion is Ms. Sankar for the motion, seconded by Mr. Hunt, and I said all in favor. Okay, now we have it. And opposed? Mr. Khan is opposing. Okay, so yeah, the application, Mr. Binkowski, your application is refused. And
thank you.
And that's it. Sorry. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'll ask them. Members, do you need a break? No, they don't need. We'll go for a few more. Few more. Okay, so we'll have number 12, which is 27 Belgravia Avenue, application number 12. And here we have David Egelman. Mr. Egelman, are you there?
Afternoon, Sir Chair and committee members. David Egelman, 900 The East Mall, Suite 300.
Thank
And I
you.
am a senior planner here on behalf of the owners.
Thank you. So we have here is a new dwelling, 8 variances, and forestry condition number 3. That's all I have. There's no other stuff. I had a question on variance number 5. Could you please explain the depth of the application number 5, of variance number 5?
Yes, I certainly can, Mr. Chair. And through you, before I explain the building depth specifically, I would just like to amend the application briefly.
Okay.
We have, so just before I amend the application, I'll just note that we consulted with planning staff. They've expressed no concerns, and I'm not aware of any concerns or objections from any neighbors or any other city departments. And so these revisions are really just a result of us correcting the previously submitted zoning notice. We noticed some discrepancies between the plans and the zoning notice that were submitted.
Sir,
so
if you want,
a zoning waiver.
Excuse me, if you want to help us, don't explain anything. Just give us the number of variants and what you're changing it to, and then we'll give you your 5 minutes to talk.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. So we are just deleting variance number 2 and variance number 3.
Number 2 and number 3 removed, right? Okay.
Correct.
That's it? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So you can make a small presentation and we'll move on. And you're right, there is nobody else registered here, and there is no other report, just this. So 2 and 3 are removed. Please go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I can be brief here because, as you know, it is a fairly straightforward application and no one is in objection. It is my opinion that all the variances are quite minor, and the proposal will be in keeping with the existing character. It is just for a new house on a street that largely consists of single detached dwellings. And just in regards to the depth specifically, because you asked about that variance specifically, Mr. Chair, the depth is purely a result of the very small minimum required front yard setback. So if I could please ask staff to just pull up the survey. Thank you. So if we just zoom in there so that we can see all 3 dwellings, the subject property and both dwellings on either side, specifically their front yard setbacks, you'll see that both adjacent dwellings have quite small front yard setbacks. And as the adjacent dwelling at 25 has a front yard setback of 1.18 meters, and the adjacent dwelling at 29 has a front yard setback at 2.05 meters. So as the committee may know, the minimum required front yard setback is, in most cases for residential properties in the city, an average of the 2 setbacks of your adjacent neighbors. And so in this case, our minimum required front yard setback is 1.62 meters. So it is a very small minimum required front yard setback. And because we are proposing a larger front yard setback than the minimum requirement, the additional amount of space that we are moving back from the required front yard setback is being counted in the building depth. And that is ultimately what is bringing the building depth up to the number that it is.
Okay.
Whereas the actual length of the house is very much in keeping with the character. And just lastly, through you, Mr. Chair, there is quite a staggered pattern of rear walls in this neighborhood. So this dwelling will be in keeping with that existing character.
Very good. Thank you.
So,
yeah, that explains
thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Okay, any question? If not, Mr. Khan, is that a question or motion?
Sir, it's a question if you allow.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Through you, sir, my question is just a little bit of explanation. Why FSI has been kept 1.13 as against 0.8, which is allowed. So this is 29% more than the maximum allowable.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I will can address that. So the proposed FSI is, it will be distributed over 2 floors. It results in an increase of approximately 80 square meters or 860 square feet over what is permitted as of right. And again, that will be distributed over 2 floors. And there have been a number of approvals within this neighborhood that are similar to or larger than what we are proposing today. And also we are compliant with all setback requirements except the east side yard setback, which we are requesting a variance to, as well as the minimum, the all landscaping requirements we are compliant with as well, and the maximum permitted building height. So that demonstrates through compliance with those other provisions which also contribute to regulating the size and massing of a dwelling. That demonstrates that the proposed FSI is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood and will not result in an overdevelopment of the lot. And the FSI itself results in a GFA of the proposed dwelling that is in keeping with the character and size of other dwellings in this neighborhood.
Thank you. Any other question, Mr.
Can I make
Mr. Khan? Please go ahead.
Can I make motion, sir?
Sorry, oh, your motion? Okay. Now,
Yes.
first, is there another question? No other question?
No, sir.
So Mr. Khan has
no question.
So Mr. Khan has a motion. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, after listening to the explanation and having no staff recommendation for this application, I move this application be approved with the forestry conditions.
Thank you. A second.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. I think applicant eliminate variance number 2 and 3.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So, Mr. Khan, you remember?
Yes, sir.
Number 2 and 3 were removed. Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 2 and 3 are removed, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
And second?
And the forest.
Second?
Then I can second.
Ms. Atarodi, seconding. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, sir, your application is approved, subject to the change you made to remove 2 and 3, and subject to forestry. I have here condition number 3.
Thank you, sir, chair and committee.
Okay.
Have a great afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Application number 13, which is 144 Rosewell Avenue, application number 13. And here we have Angus Skinny. Are you there?
Yes,
Angus?
I'm here.
Could you please state your name and address?
Certainly. My name is Angus Skeen. I'm the architect and agent for the project 142 Glendale Avenue, Toronto, M6R2T2.
Thank you. We have here, this is for a second floor and balcony over existing garage. 3 variances, 9 letters of support, and we have nothing else. Members, do we need a presentation here? No. Okay. Sir, we don't need a presentation. Do you want to add something before we move to committee?
No, I'm obviously happy to answer any questions, but I understand.
Thank you. So, members, if there is no question, can I have a motion then? Mr. Tarodi?
Yes. Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I'm ready to put forward a motion to approve this application. That's it, with no condition.
That's it. There's nothing. Okay, thank you. Second, Mr. Khan seconding. All in favor? Mr. Hunt, are you for? Mr. Hunt, I don't know. Are you for it? Yeah, too? Okay, thank you. All right, sir, your application unanimously approved and there is no conditions.
Thank you.
Okay, now the next one has lots of change. Break. Okay, members, the next one, we'll take it after the break. We're having 10 minutes break. Just 10 minutes, okay? Thank you. Yeah, but it's a lot. Some of them are Ladies and gentlemen, we're resuming the session, and we're on number 14, which is 205 Horsham Avenue, application number 14. And here we have Mr. Jonathan Benskowski. Are you there?
Hi, Mr. Chair. Hi, committee.
Hi, we saw you a few times today, but you can still repeat your name and address to be recorded on the system, please.
Yeah, Jonathan Benskowski, 301 KEEWATIN Avenue.
Okay, so here we have, it's a new dwelling, 8 variances, forestry, 1 letter of objection. Councillor letter has asked to reduce certain things, and staff has to reduce, and apparently you are reducing things. So before we do anything, would you please lead us to the changes you're making, i.e. the number of variants and what you're changing it to?
Yes, just bear with me for 1 second. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm still...
Okay. I have it recorded, but it's up to you. You're the one to say it.
No. Yes. So as per the staff report, okay, we have revised the application, okay, exactly as per this staff report. So we modified variance number 3.
Yeah. 2.
Sorry, my computer just froze on me. Yes, sorry. So variance number 3 will now be revised to be a side exterior main wall of 8.52 meters.
No, yeah. I thought it was 9.07. I thought they said 9.07.
Sorry, my apologies. I may have a later one up here if you just... Oh, sorry, I have it. Sorry. Just sorry, I'm spinning here. Here we go. Yes, sorry. The proposed height of the side main walls is actually now going to be 8.52, as I mentioned.
Well, if you want 152, that's fine. I'll put it here. It's less than what I have on record. Okay. And next?
Yes. It's 8.52.
Okay.
The next one is the proposed front stairs are now 2.84 meters wide.
Sorry, which one you're talking about? Number of variants.
Oh, apologies. Let me go back here.
I thought number 4 is removed.
It is. Sorry, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I was doing it as per the as per the zoning review, not the public notice. So let me. You're right. Let me relate it to the public notice. So variance number 3 is been improved to 8.52.
Okay.
Variance number 4 has been removed.
Okay.
Variance number 5 for the exterior stairs is now 2.84.
Right.
Variance number 7 has been removed.
Oh, removed. Okay.
Correct.
7 removed. You're sure?
I also have
just a second.
Filed. Yes.
Once number 7, you say you're removing it now?
Correct.
Okay. And next, what do you say?
That's it. I've also filed a revised list of variances that would reflect what we just discussed.
Okay. Okay. So what you're revising, just to go over it, so make sure that everybody understands. Number 3, you're revising it to 8.52. Number 4.
Correct, sir.
Number 4 is removed. Number 5
Correct.
is revised to 2.84, and number 7 is removed.
Correct, sir.
Okay, please go ahead. And the staff asking also to to developers for north and south elevation drawings.
Yes, that would be directly related to the variance number 3
the
improvement for the
revised
side main wall height.
Okay, so please go ahead.
Correct. Yeah. So the proposal is to construct a new dwelling. Again, I submitted the revised list of variances. In terms of the plans that are proposed, in my opinion, this is the typical dwelling that we're seeing along Horsham, as well as this overall neighborhood as a whole, with the integral garage and the 2 floors of living. Again, in my opinion, this fits in well with the community. We have looked at the councilor's letter. We are okay with those changes that we previously went over. I'm okay with forestry, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Before we do that, we have one more person listed here. See if they're around. Daria Astashiev, are you there? Daria Astashiev. No, she's
Hello?
not. Yeah,
Hello?
hi.
No, I am.
Okay,
Yeah,
could you?
hi.
Yeah, could you please state your name and address, and I hope I pronounced it well.
Yes, my name is Daria Stashev, address 9 Claywood Road, Toronto.
Thank you.
M2N2R1.
Now you heard the agents changed improved the variances. Do you still have any concern?
Yes, actually, the building height is 10.84 meters, which is 2 meters over per maximum permitted building height. So it will pretty much be a problem with the privacy of my backyard, because it will just, it's like I'm on a Claywood, so it faces my backyard, the back windows, and I have a concern about privacy on my backyard, reduced amount of sunlight. So I feel pretty uncomfortable about extra 2 meters, which is an extra floor pretty much with 2 meters tall.
That's it. Okay.
Yes.
Any question? Yeah. Okay. Mr. Brankowski, could you please return here and summarize this so we can move on? She has a problem.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
She has a problem with
the concern. The concern relates to the old North York 7625, but they're actually no longer enforced. So in terms of the dwelling under 569/2013, we are exactly at 10 meters, which what is permitted under the zoning bylaw. As we all know, 7625 is from the center line of the road. In this instance, there is a significant difference between that center line of the road and the established grade. So in terms of 569/2013, we are within that 10 meters height, and even the height request that is before you today is for the side main wall height. And from what I understand, they're located to the rear. So in terms of impact to them, that would be mitigated by the rear height being as per the zoning bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Members, any question? Mr. Khan.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question, but my request to you, sir, is to get variance number 3 clarified. I'm happy to see and note 8.52 is the change, which is good. I agree with that. But later on, we received information that it was 9.72. So which one is the correct one?
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's 8.52, which is submitted through a zoning waiver to the committee.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
He's on the hearing today, and he's changing it to 8.52. That's it. Okay. Any other question? If not, can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe that the changes that have been made to the variances bring this into conformance. Would you like me to read the changes, or are they in the record now?
I think. Well, I have them here. I believe the staff have it, but if you want to repeat them, it won't hurt.
I'll just quickly, my motion would be that this is approved, subject to the February 15th letter from Toronto Planning, where they note that variance 3 has been modified from 9.97 to 8.52 meters. Variance 4 has been removed. Variance 5 modified from 8. Sorry, I need my glasses. 6.25 meters to 2.84 meters, and variance 4 has been removed. And I believe that.
Yeah, okay.
And then also subject to urban forestry requirements, I move approval.
Yeah. Did you mention number 7 was removed?
Yes.
Number 7 is
yes.
Okay, thank you. Second, Ms. Satarodi seconding.
Yes, but I would like to ask Mr. Hunt for just is he okay if I add the condition of the staff that the proposal be developed substantially
Absolutely.
right north and south elevation?
Yes.
Sorry.
And forestry, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's my motion based on the change by Ms. Atori.
And
so I'll second.
Ms. Satarodi seconding. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to those changes, the ones you made, and also the staff recommendation. Okay, and forestry. So what do we have here? Number 15. Okay. Application number 15, which is 24 BRIXHAM Terrace, application number 15. And here we have Kelvin Lowe. Are you there? Kelvin Lowe.
Mr. Chair, Kelvin Lowe has been unmuted.
Sorry?
He has been unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lowe, you're...
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please state your name and address for us before we move on.
So my name is Kelvin Lowe. My address is 3575 14th Avenue, Markham.
Thank you. So this application is for a cabana, addition and a cabana, 3 variances, and staff report conditions. Yeah, because you have your, the lot coverage is high, 42, so they have a condition that the dwelling will be limited to 32% and the cabana 1.6%, and the porch is 8.4%. So please, we don't have anybody else speaker here, but because of these changes, we'd like you to make a small presentation and tell us what you want to do.
So I'm okay with the staff condition that's imposed on these applications. I'm fine with it.
You're fine with what? Could you please tell us what? Okay, so you're fine with the condition, right? But what else do you want to say?
Correct. Yes.
What else you want to say? Anything else?
So it's pretty straightforward. So we're asking for the variance for the 42, for the coverage 42%, and then as the planning staff report stated, that 32 will be limited to the actual dwelling, 8.4 is for the rear yard deck, and 1.6 for the gazebo. And then for the number 2 variance, we are asking for 7.62 front yard setback instead of permitted setback of 8.6. And the front yard setback variance is for the existing garage that has been already existing since the house were first built. However, this variance is triggered when we propose the addition, which have no relation to our proposed structure. So for number 3, we are asking for west side yard setback of 1.51 instead of 1.8 is permitted. And for variance number 4, we are asking for 1.42 setback instead of 1.8 is permitted. This variance is needed because we want to align with the existing garage side wall. And we also, and we are fine with the condition that's imposed on these applications.
Okay, thank you. Members, we don't have anybody else. And can you show the members, please? Okay, members, we don't have anybody else to speak. Here, there's the staff report, and he's okay with the staff breakdown there for number for the coverage. Any question? If you don't have any question, can I have a motion then, please? Ms. Sankar, please go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I don't have a problem with what is being proposed here. And I do believe that it meets the 4 tests. So I will put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Well, with the condition of the breakdown. Staff report.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
You're okay with that, huh? Okay. And
Yeah.
and the applicant repeats it, so he's okay with that. Okay. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Second. Mr. Khan seconding. All in favor? Thank you. Unanimously. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to that change of the breakdown, not change, just the condition of the breakdown of the lot coverage. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Application number 16, which is 45 Acton Avenue, application number 16. And here we have Grant Michael. Are you there? It's not ready.
Mr. Chair, Marina has been unmuted to speak for this item.
Hi there.
Okay. Okay. Martina Cernik, could you please come up?
Yes. So
Okay.
this is for a,
please tell us your
sorry.
name and your own address, and we'll move to the application.
Sure. It's Marnina Cernik, 45 Acton Avenue, North York, Ontario, M3H4 Golf 9.
Okay. And here we have one variance, just lot coverage, and for a deck, to construct a deck. Are you changing anything before I move to committee?
No.
No. Okay.
We are not.
Members, do you need any presentation here? It's one variance, lot coverage from 30 to 30.46. We don't need any. Okay. Okay. Okay, Ms. Cernik, we don't need any presentation here. Do you want to add something before we make a decision?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Members, can I have Ms. Satarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. As you mentioned, it's a very straightforward application. We're dealing with one variance, and I think it meets the 4 tests. Therefore, my motion will be to approve this application.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Hunt, all in favor? Okay, unanimously. Okay, your application is unanimously approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Huh? 3 more, that's all. Wow. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, that's why he wanted to be at the end. Okay, we have number 17. No, yeah. Application number 17, which is 73 CRAIGMORE CRECENT. Application number 17, and this is Mr. Michael Persicci. Are you there? Michael Persicci.
Hello?
Persicci, are you there?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Can you please state your name and address?
I am. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Your name and your address, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Michael Persicci, 1 Sheffield Street.
Thank you.
And I'm representing the owners,
Oh, you're
73 CRECENT Crescent.
Okay. All right. So we have this is for a new dwelling. You have 3 variances. The staff report, they're asking to modify variance number 1. And
yes.
Councillor also reduced to 32%. We have 6 letters of objection, 1 letter of support, and we have 1 more. Since we have 1 more speaker here, please go ahead, make your small presentation, and tell us what you want to change the variances to.
Sorry, did you say we have 6 letters of objection and 1 letter of support?
I'm sorry? Oh,
I think it's the opposite. We have 6 letters of support.
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. That's okay, yeah.
6 letters of support of the project and 1 letter of objection,
Okay,
I believe.
we have just one letter, we have just one more speaker here. And by the way, we don't go by referendum, how many people for, how many against. We go for the application, so don't worry.
Yeah, no problem. I thought I heard you say that.
Yeah, you may be right. I don't know. That's what I had listed here. So, so please go ahead and make your small presentation and tell us what you want to change it to.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we do have planning recommendations about adjusting comment number 1. They would like us to bring our proposed lot coverage down to 32%.
Okay.
So I would like to start just by showing, I was wondering if planning staff can show our site plan of the area, our key plan.
Yeah, just before we move
Oh,
on,
sorry.
before you said variance number 1, the staff wanted us to change it, but are you changing it, yes or no?
Well, we would like not to.
Oh, you don't want to change it. Okay, so you want to leave
No,
it.
we were hoping to
I
keep
see.
our plans as shown.
So you want to leave it at 33.19.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, all right. So please go ahead and make your presentation.
So I was actually wondering if planning could show not this site plan, the plan showing a key plan. No, it's not in this drawing package here. It would be in our presented information. Yeah, that one right there. No, not that one. There's the one. Yeah, there we go. So basically in this neighborhood, it's a very small number of homes that are within the 200-meter radius. This is something that we've conducted our little survey through the City of Toronto Property Data Map Index. And as you can see, there's only 52 homes within this radius, and there's already 11.5% of them that exceed the 32% that the planning staff has recommended. So I just wanted to put that out there at the beginning, but I wanted to go over we don't have any ECS comments, nor forestry comments, no transportation comments. So it's just this one comment from planning that we would like to address. So can planning show our site plan now? Thank you. Perfect. Yeah. So we have the neighboring property to the north is 71 CRAIGMORE, and then 75 to the south. And as you can see, the building depth and length were also comments, but primarily the coverage along the north side. The north side of our building matches the building depth of 71. There's no additional projection out. There is a projection out that is only on the south side. And in fact, it's only on the lower level of it's only in the ground floor projection. And this is, in essence, the number that brought our lot coverage, one of the things that brought our lot coverage over the allowable 32%. So the fact that we are in line directly with 71, it makes it seem as though this depth is all acceptable with planning as well. And 75 CRAIGMORE, if you can see it, we feel that this extension is irrelevant because it impacts the rear yard of 75 rather than any side yards of neighboring properties. And then, so how much? So I just wanted to point out though that those properties that we've saw, they all exist harmoniously in the neighborhood without anybody even being aware of the lot coverages. Here we're not asking for much more than what's permitted as per planning. We feel that this design of this home is in the character, we took some of the characteristics of other homes in the neighborhood. And we feel that it's in line with the characteristics, and it's something that we would like to present forward to the committee. Ask them to look outside of the planning box that's been presented, and we'd like to hear your thoughts.
Okay. Before we move on to committee, we'll call the, we have another speaker here. And by the way, you saw the staff recommendation, right?
Yes,
okay,
we did.
It said change it to 32 or refuse it. So we'll see what the members come up with. In the meantime, we'll see Lina Zaho. Are you there? Or Octavian Sichi.
He's not here. I'll be representing both of us.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for us?
Yes, Lina Zhao, address 71 CRAIGMORE Crescent.
Okay, and could you tell us what's your concern about this application?
Yes, the first concern is that the maximum lot coverage that's proposed is 33.19. However, on the registered site plan, in the table it says 34.9%. There's a little discrepancy. I'm not sure why they're different. My other concern is that the over the maximum lot coverage will create a drainage issue. Because of the increased lot coverage may result flooding and water damage on the neighbor property, and because we're adjacent to it, that could have significant financial and health implication for the affected residents. This is because like the increased amount of impervious services like driveway, patio, buildings can result in a greater stormwater runoff, which can cause drainage issue on the neighbor properties. There's also the concern of reduced sunlight that could, because of the increased lot coverage, may result in reduced sunlight for the neighboring properties. There's also the concern of privacy, because they are building, extra building coverage that could also overlook or disturb by, activity taking place on the proposed property. And also the property value that could also potentially be affected. This could impact the ability to sell property in the future. In turn, this could have an adverse effect on the property values in the area.
Okay, thank you. I'll see if the members have any question for you. Any question for the speaker? Ms. Atarodi?
Yes, just wanna ask the neighbor's address. Are you number 71 or number 75?
Uh, 71.
71. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we get back the agent. Okay, Mr. Pesicini, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can you please wrap up that one so we can move to the committee?
Yeah, I would just like to address some of the concerns from the neighbors. So I think one of the comments was about meeting landscape requirements. So city staff has elected not to even mention landscape because we meet all requirements in front and rear yard. From a stormwater point of view, we are stormwater servicing professional engineers. We have designed grading plans to meet the requirements to make sure that we don't ensure that there are any additional spill-offs onto neighboring properties. We also have, we're going to take advantage of our sheet flow in appropriate directions. We have a park to the back. We can design this to be self-contained, this site. Stormwater should not be an issue for anybody the way it would any other home in the neighborhood. Lastly, I think there was some concern about sunlight, and we had already taken that into account in our design. Just we've tried to mitigate the impact on all neighbors through our design, and you can see that in the design of this layout. We kept any projection outward to 1 story, and we've also kept it on the south side of the property. It's extremely far. We're 8 meters away from the neighbor to the south, and we're also going to be just over 6 meters away to the neighbor to the north. And the projection is not going to be much higher than the actual fence line itself. I, I don't think, I think that that covers, the items. There was some item about property value, but we, you know, we've tried to match the neighborhoods and we feel that this new home will only increase value in the neighborhood to begin with.
Thank you. Any question for this agent? If no questions, can I have a motion then, please? Mr. Tarodi?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I listened carefully to the applicant and also the neighbors and also read the staff report. So the application that is in front of us, we don't have any, we have only lot coverage and length and depth. When I look at the side plan, the length and depth is completely, it's not exceeded, just very matched to the neighbors on the side. And from one side, there's a lot of space between two buildings, and on the back, you have a green space. So we don't have a height variance. We don't have a side yard setback variance. We don't have a front and back yard setback variance. Therefore, I think, and since there are some other buildings in the same neighborhood with the same, with approved over 32%, my motion will be to approve this application as is.
As is. Thank you. You have a second? Ms. Ankar seconding. All in favor? Okay. Opposed? Mr. Khan opposing. Sir, your application is approved as is.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Application number 18, which is number 8, Georgian Court, application number 18. And here we have Gislen Sifriwi. Are you there?
Hi, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
My name is Gislen Sifriwi.
Okay, thank you. And your address?
My address is 8 Georgian Court, and I am the owner at the property being discussed today.
You're the owner. Okay. So we have here, just for an addition, there is 3 variances, and we have letters of support. That's it. I don't have anything else. Members, do we need a presentation here? No? Okay. We don't need any presentation. Do you want to say something before we move to the decision?
No, I'm okay, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Members, if there is no question, can I have a motion there, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Although we have no staff recommendation for this application, but I find it is straightforward, complies with the zoning bylaws. So I move this application be approved.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Hunt, seconding. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Unanimous. Okay, your application is unanimously approved as is.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now is number 19. Okay, so we have here number 19, which is 632 GLENCAIRN Avenue, application 19, and this is Mr. Daniel Lewis. Are you there? Mr. Daniel Lewis.
Mr. Chair, Daniel Lewis has been unmuted.
He's unmuted, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So again, Mr. Lewis, could you please show up? Mr. Daniel Lewis, are you there? can't believe this.
Okay.
Okay.
See you, actually.
Mr.
Okay.
Lewis, can you please state your name and address, please? Mr. Lewis, are you still there? Oh. Thank you. Oh, next person there. Okay. Is Hillel Liechtenstein, are you there? Hillel Liechtenstein.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, my name is Hillel Liechtenstein, 632 Glencairn Avenue.
Okay. So, yeah, you're listed as the owner here, and the architect is...
I am listed as the owner, yes.
Okay.
Daniel Lewis is my architect. I'm not exactly sure why he's having some technical difficulties. I apologize on his behalf.
Okay. Do you want to present the application?
I'm not really qualified to present for myself.
I'm sorry, you said qualified or not?
Daniel. So I'm not quite qualified to present, but if Daniel can't get on in the next 30 seconds, I think I have no choice, right?
Well, it's up to you if you want to present it, because we have a few more speakers here to talk.
I'm going to try and get him on the phone, and maybe he can present via my phone. Give me one moment, please. I apologize about this.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, the agent might need to log off and log back in again and authorize his microphone. So Daniel, if you can hear us, maybe try logging off and logging back in again. Thank you.
Hi, I happen to be a neighbor. I live on Glen Park Avenue. Can you hear me?
What's your name?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's your name?
Please acknowledge. You can?
What's your...
Okay, hi.
What's your name?
My name's Aurelia Ostro. I live at 85 Glen Park Avenue. We built our house back in 1983.
Mr. Chair.
Just a second. Hold a second.
Neighborhood.
Excuse me.
It really
Hello. Excuse me. Hold a second. We are looking for the owner and the agent, Daniel Lewis. What are you doing here? Who are you?
Sorry, Mr. Chair. She was accidentally unmuted.
Oh.
We'll wait for the agent to present first.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, so she's one.
Again? Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh my, hallelujah. Okay,
Hallelujah. Okay, I've got Daniel. I had Daniel on the line.
Please state, yeah, excuse me.
Daniel,
please,
are you there?
Excuse me, please state your name and address, please, for us.
Yeah, this is Hillel Liechtenstein, owner of 632 Glencairn Avenue.
Okay.
And I have Daniel Lewis on the phone, and he's going to speak on my behalf.
Okay, thank you. Now we have here, this is a second story addition. We have 6 variances. One letter of support and some one letter of objection. We have transportation report is okay with conditions listed in their February 2021. I don't think we have too much here, but because we have many speakers here, we need you to make a presentation so we can call them and see what their concern is, okay? So please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, can you hear my architect? He's speaking from the phone. Can you hear him?
Yeah, I hear you vaguely, but speak a little bit louder.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Committee. My name is Daniel Lewis. I'm the architect and agent for the proposed development at 632 Glencairn Avenue, and I'll be presenting on behalf of the owner.
Okay.
Please know I'm just an architect and not a great speaker, as you'll soon find out, so please be patient with my presentation.
I want to start off. Could you please hold 1 second?
Daniel, hang on 1 second.
Yeah, hold 1 second, please. I think the way you connected it is making a big echo, or they will not hear it. So could you please try to do something there to slow down the echo?
Mr. Chair, I can call in if that helps.
Okay, now it's better. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so please know I'm just the architect. I'm an architect and not a great public speaker, as you'll soon find out. So please be patient with my presentation. I want to start off this presentation to state that the development application is to accommodate a growing family that requires additional space and is proposed to construct a new second story on the existing building footprint. As you can see on sheet 1, this illustrates the length the homeowner and I have gone through over the last 11 months by a consultation with Mr. Robert Brown and the neighbours to reduce and mitigate the 9 variances identified on our March 22 committee hearing, which are now been revised and reduced to 5 identified variances, minor variances, in this current application. The homeowner and I were in consultation with Robert Brown and the neighbours for a duration of over 4 to 5 months after the initial application was refused. This included a major redesign to accommodate the neighbours' concerns. The variance that Mr. Robert Brown requested us to fully remove were the following: building height, the rear deck, and the reduction in the flat roof square footage. As you can see from the current application illustrated on the right, we have met all the demands of the neighbours, as well as having the support of 15 neighbours within the neighbourhood.
Yeah, could you please hold 1 second? Not only echoing, you're speaking too fast and echoing. Are you changing anything in the variances? If yes, tell us what the number of the variance and what you're changing it to.
Mr. Chair, we are changing no variances.
I'm sorry?
We're changing no variances, Mr.
No
Chair.
variances, you're not changing. Okay, please go ahead. Keep going.
Okay, as you can see from the current application illustrated on the right, we have met all the demands of the neighbours, as well as the support of 15 neighbours within the neighbourhood. The letters of support have been submitted and issued to the committee prior to this hearing. We are now left with the 5 variances that are existing non-conforming conditions within the current application. Sheet 2, please, Sam.
Can we go to sheet 2, please, Sam? Thank you.
What happened?
I'm still here, Mr. Chair.
You still there?
This sheet identifies all the variances that have been noticed on the application, 5 in total. I've researched and identified precedent case studies of where there are equal or greater within this neighbourhood. As you can see from the table with all the variances we are acquiring, there are many precedents set for each where they are equal or greater than. As stated previously, it's also important to note that the variances we are looking for are all existing non-conforming conditions. In addition, it's important to note that the 3 of the 5 variances we are applying for have been approved on a property in close proximity to the homeowner, as seen on the Google Street Map on this sheet. A new build which was erected westerly across the street at 647 Glencairn Avenue has variances which are greater in value and were approved. These include length, depth and side yard variances. In addition, the remaining 2 variances that are mentioned, one being the driveway, has been reviewed and has no concerns or objection from transportation services, as shown in the letter provided by them. The other outstanding variances, which is the main pedestrian access height, is the same as the opposing neighbour and very common within this neighbourhood. Again, it's important to note that the variances we are applying for are all existing conditions. Sheet number 3, please, Sam. Sheet number 3, if that's okay. Thank you. As the committee has been informed of Robert Brown's request to defer the hearing based on this development being a three-storey dwelling, I would like to make the committee aware that the homeowner and I worked with the City Zoning Division to resolve this issue prior to applying for COFA. The zoning examiner on file, Albert Smith, offered us a solution according to the bylaws on how to remove the variance that classified our development as a three-storey dwelling. Albert Smith, along with the manager Stephen Mello, the manager of plan review at the City of Toronto, recommended we implement his suggestion of removing the closet beneath the room proposed above the garage, resulting in the variance being removed, and the current application being classified correctly as a two-storey dwelling. I would also like to add that the homeowner and I met with the city planner, Paul Procopio, who informed us after he met with management and careful review of what they found had no issues or concerns with our application and was in keeping with the 4 tests under the Planning Act. I hope this will help give clarity to Mr. Brown's inquiries, as well as show that no errors have been made with this zoning review.
Okay, excuse me. I think it's over. Just you finished your 5 minutes. We're going to hear the other speakers, and we'll bring you back. Okay. So.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
The next one we have is Aurelia Ostro. Are you there? Aurelia Ostro.
Mr. Chair, Aurelia has been unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Aurelia Astro, are you there? Okay, Aurelia Astro, you're unmuted. Could you please show up? Okay, maybe we start the next one.
Hi.
Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm sorry, I can't hear anything. I don't know why.
Okay, could you
I'm
please?
trying to unmute. I was talking earlier. I don't know if you heard anything I had to say, but I heard nothing about your proceedings.
Okay, okay, could you please?
Which is why I just got a phone call saying I'm on. Essentially, I'm a neighbor. My name's Aurelia Ostro.
Excuse me, hello, could you hold 1 second, please? You're speaking too fast. It's loud, it's echoing, and we have to follow the process. Could you please state your name and your own address?
Can you hear me?
Now we hear you. Your name.
You can raise your, yes. Okay. Thank you for telling me, young lady with the blue shirt. Appreciate it. As I was saying earlier, I live at 85 Glen Park Avenue. I've lived here since 1983.
Mr. Chair, I've muted her.
Okay. Who's that? Which one is that now? Aurelia, right? Okay. Aurelia Ostro, can you please state your name and address so it can be recorded on the system, and go slowly so we can move on, please?
My name once again is Aurelia Ostro. I live at 85 Glen Park Avenue.
Thank you.
And I am a neighbor, kitty corner in the backyard of.
Okay, tell us what's your concern. Okay, tell us what's your
GLENCAIRN.
concern.
I'm 1 block north on Glen Park.
So tell us what's your concern. Yeah.
What I want to say is basically they have a lovely young family growing. I just see that their enhancement to their property is just going to improve the neighborhood. Over the years, they have maintained their property beautifully. All I do is they want to improve it. They want to stay here over the years. I don't see how maintaining the height or raising the height of the home is going to make have any negative impact whatsoever. It's just going to improve the neighborhood, and I would love to see them be able to stay in the neighborhood and grow their family here.
So you're supporting the application?
And unfortunately, I can't hear anybody. I see some people nodding, but I can't hear anyone.
Are you supporting the application?
I don't know why.
You have
I've got my speaker on. You're not muted, but
okay.
I heard earlier.
Okay. So
Hi. Yes, vehemently. Yes.
Okay. All right. So okay.
100% support the application.
Thank you.
150%.
Thank you. 100% is fine. Okay. Now next we have Do you have any questions for the speaker? So, okay, next one. We have Robert Brown, but he elected to go to the next one, but we get Marisa before him. Marisa Di Giuseppe, are you there?
Oh,
Marisa, yeah, could you please state your name?
hello. Yes, my name is Marissa Di Giuseppe, and I reside at 634 GLENCAIRN Avenue.
Okay, do you have any concern with this application?
Yes.
Okay, so please tell us what's your concern. And Robert Brown is there. He said if you, as I understand, what I was told, if you cover the whole thing, he doesn't have to speak. So I put both of you on the same place. So tell me what's your concern, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, panel members. My name is Marissa Di Giuseppe, and I am here today to represent my 93-year-old father, Vittorio Di Giuseppe. My father built our modest home in 1974. I wish to address how the impact this proposed addition will have on the enjoyment of our property, specifically the loss of light and privacy. The proposed addition will greatly impact the natural light that we receive on the east side of our house, especially my bedroom and our dining room, which also carries over to the living room area. Light that brings a great deal of visual warmth to all the rooms. Would the staff please bring up the photos in our letter of opposition? They were taken by me last week from my bedroom and home office windows facing the west wall of the proposed renovation. Would the staff kindly display the applicant's west side elevation plan, drawing number A108. There are several proposed windows on the west wall facing our home that will line up with existing windows. The proposed window looking out of the pantry kitchen on level 1 will directly line up with my bedroom window. In addition, the upper window having 3 glass panels directly above, located second from the right, looking out of bedroom 3, will also look into my bedroom window. This will allow the occupants of 632 GLENCAIRN Avenue to have unobstructed views into my private space throughout the day and evening, which will be an infringement on my personal privacy. May I also draw your attention to the 2 enormous windows located on level 1 that are approximately 9.5 feet tall by 4.5 feet wide. We are particularly concerned about the size and location of the windows. The proposed window on the left will directly line up with our dining room window, allowing the occupants of 632 GLENCAIRN Avenue to look into our private space and will be an infringement on our property. Secondly, both of the proposed tall rectangular windows will also look into our home office, our private space, resulting in a loss of privacy. I visited all the homes on our block, and none of the homes have windows of similar size located between the homes. This would not only set a precedent, but also infringe on our personal privacy and enjoyment of our home. In addition, our direct neighbor to the west has several frosted glass blocks installed for light, respecting the privacy of both neighbors. I believe that the 2 oversized windows are a design fault put in place for aesthetic beauty of the house, whereby our privacy was not considered. It is out of character with the established window design in the neighborhood. It is something that needs to be corrected, and that's why I'm here taking our position. Lastly, the light from the east will be materially diminished on our rear yard should this addition be allowed to be built. My father spends a significant amount of time during the spring summer and fall working in our backyard. He is very successful in growing many varieties of vegetables and flowers. My father gets great satisfaction from his gardening. His ability to grow his annual bountiful harvest would be materially diminished due to the increased height of the proposed dwelling at 632 Glencairn Avenue, causing shadow in the garden. Therefore, I ask that you refuse this application as it will have a material negative impact on our privacy and the enjoyment of our rear garden. Thank you for your time and the opportunity for bringing my father's position. We trust you will consider our objections. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see if the members have any question. And I just want to tell you, you can mention to your father that you did a very good presentation. I was really impressed, and it's clear. We understand whether the members will agree with the staff or not. At least you made a very good presentation. So let's see if the members have any question. Any question, Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my question is through you, sir. The lady has raised the question about big windows. And before us is the addition of second story. And these big windows are in the existing first floor. I would like to, and I would appreciate to have the explanation that these windows are existing or will be added.
Well, I guess the agent will respond to that, right? If it's existing or not. Is that what you want to ask? If the windows are existing or not? Okay, well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, the agent will respond to that. You can ask the agent when he comes in. We'll finish with the neighbors first. Okay, so Mr. Brown, you're there, and you said if Marissa is doing okay, you don't have to speak. Do you still want to speak?
I think there's just a couple of points. I believe that
excuse me, before a couple of points, could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, Mr. Chair. My name is Robert Brown. I live at 88 Spadina Road, Suite 212, Toronto, Mary 5 Roger 2 Sam 8.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay, just a couple of minor points. One is my understanding that these larger windows are not existing today, but the designer can confirm that. And the loss of privacy is a very significant concern to the family at 634. And obviously there may be solutions such as frosting or glass block windows on that west side. They still allow light into the building at 632, but they eliminate direct visual viewing into the private space at 634. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any question for this gentleman? No? So we'll bring back the agent and see if we have any questions. Hopefully we can hear him because the echo there was really not clear. So hello, Daniel Lewis, are you still there? Or Hillel Lexington?
Hillel, I'm here.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Well, yeah, but I guess we hear you too much. The echo is really, yeah. Could you please address the concerns that you heard about the height and the windows and all that stuff?
Pictures that are windows already there. So,
Mr. Chair, so perhaps we should let Daniel try and call in directly himself so we don't have that echo. Can we pause it just for a second?
Daniel, yeah. Mr. Lewis, could you call us directly here rather than going through the system because it's making too much echo and we don't hear what you're saying. We hear it too much.
Tell him I can, yes.
See if you can call us directly. That's what the staff is suggesting here.
Mr. Lewis, if you can hear me, can I just confirm your phone number begins with a 4?
Daniel's number starts with a 4. That's
Enter your
correct.
access code or meeting number followed by pound.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, so can I suggest that Mr. Lewis call in from that number? We'll monitor our end to see if he calls in, and we can unmute him directly. Hopefully that will help.
Okay, thank you guys. I'm sorry again for the technical difficulties here.
No problem. We'll get through
Wait,
this.
Okay, so let's see if it works.
Mr. Chair, I have Daniel Lewis here on speaker.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we have been very patient here, but we don't hear you. So go ahead, please. Tell us what you heard the speakers before. You heard the concerns they have, and please address those concerns before we can move on the decision.
Yes. So just to give some context to the neighbour's objection, there are existing windows that look directly into each of the properties. So it's an existing condition. And then with regards to the two large windows to the south, the one furthest north is a modified opening, which is already existing. And the new one to the furthest south is a new large opening provided for the dining room, which would be looking onto a masonry brick wall on the opposing neighbour to the west.
Okay. Are the members hearing this? They hear it. Okay. All right. So you're not making any change. Okay. Members, did you hear that reply? Members, did you hear the reply of the agent?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, very clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, do you have any question? And if no questions, I'd like a motion, please. Okay. Ms. Atarodi, please go ahead.
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair. I was carefully listened to the agent and also listened to the neighbors on the west side, 634. And I also was one of the panel member who sat on the previous app when they bring us back on March 24, 2022. And this application compared to the other one that we had before, it's modified substantially, all the height and the finished first floor height and also the number of stories have been eliminated. And when I look at this application, considering the fact that a lot of those variants are existing situation, and also the windows on the west side is also, we don't have any variants that reflect those windows, and most of them are existing. Therefore, I've been convinced that this is minor, and the changes that applicant did is really improved this application. Therefore, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no modification. I only would like to add, subjected to transportation memo, that the transportation also had a memo on, let me check the date, dated February 21st, 2023. And I just want to subject it to these three conditions of the transportation. That's my motion.
Thank you. Second. Can I have a second, please? Mr. Khan seconding. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to the transportation, which have their listed conditions in their letter of February 21st, 2023. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee. Appreciate it.
Okay. Members, how long do you need for a break, lunch break? We have, right now is 1:30, 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock?
Yes, thank you.
2 o'clock or 2:30? We're open. You want 2 or 2:30? We're open. 2, okay.
2 o'clock's fine with me.
2 o'clock is fine.
2 o'clock, okay, thank you. So can you announce 2 o'clock back? The decision is unanimous, 2 o'clock. Yeah, I think some members have to get out. This is the worst application I've ever seen.
Mr. Chair, your microphone is still on.
Thank you.